The motion to vacate Reggie Middleton's consent judgment for fraud upon the court in the SEC case against him has been denied. But there have been some interesting developments, so I'm going to do a quick summary of everything that has happened during this time. But before I do, a quick disclaimer. That's right here. Give her a pause and read it, and I'm going to move on. So this is the article I wrote kind of summarizing all the other articles on the motion to vacate. So this one's titled Amicus FOIAs Prove SEC Fraud on the Court, but Motion Denied. A summary of the motion to vacate accusing the SEC of fraud on the court. The initial accusation against the SEC. In this explosive case, pioneering cryptocurrency innovator Reggie Middleton is challenging the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, and Middleton sought to vacate a 2019 consent judgment stemming from allegations of unregistered security sales via Veritaseum's VERI tokens. The saga began with Middleton's May 30, 2025 motion under FRCP 60D3 accusing the SEC of fraud on the court, specifically misrepresenting a Kraken account as a personal account to justify a 2019 temporary restraining order, or a TRO, and asset freeze, while also intimidating witnesses and coercing a settlement that imposed over $9 million in penalties. So this is the first article that I wrote, and this is going into detail of what was presented by Reggie's counsel, Jason Franklin Seibert. And in that article, there is this table here that's found. So I'm just going to run through this real quick. Below is a table found in the document 119 Memorandum of Support on page 15, showing during the TRO hearing, or on the transcript, Mr. Tenrero himself admitting the Kraken account was in fact, quote, business addresses, end quote. Following this, Judge Hall, quote, decided not to freeze Mr. Middleton's personal accounts, but instead only those of the business, end quote, again confirming the corporate status of the accounts. The court continued by asking, quote, now can someone tell me with respect to the Kraken account, is that a traditional bank account, end quote? Mr. Tenrero replied, quote, it's not a traditional bank account, but it's an account that we can serve a freeze order on, end quote, emphasis added. And this is taken directly from this chart that was added in the Memorandum of Support filed by Reggie's counsel, Jason Franklin Seibert. You can see here all the quotes that I've just read from are actually shown right here. And again, taken from the TRO transcript, or the temporary restraining order transcript. So the SEC's opposition and reply. The SEC countered on June 20th, 2025, sidestepping direct fraud rebuttals by invoking the binding nature of the consent judgment. So basically the SEC said that the fraud doesn't matter, it's okay as long as the defendant agreed to the consent judgment, which he was forced into because the TRO, or the temporary restraining order, froze his assets and basically denied him the ability to mount any kind of defense. So this prompting a sharp reply from Middleton's counsel, Jason Seibert, on June 27th, drawing parallels to the SEC versus Debtbox case, where the agency was fined $1.8 million for similar fabrications, and Middleton's filings emphasize violations of due process and judicial candor. So in the Debtbox case, basically the SEC lawyers lied to the court about evidence to issue a temporary restraining order against Debtbox, and they were caught, and they basically doubled down on the lies, and they were caught again. And this is where the sanctions and fines have come from. So this is the second article. Reggie Middleton replies to the SEC's opposition. TRO transcript reveals SEC misled court to secure asset freeze. And this is, or has, a really great reply from Reggie's counsel, Jason Seibert. You should all take a couple minutes and actually read through that. He basically calls it the SEC, and it's brilliant in my opinion. So following this, the VeriDAO submitted an amicus brief as a friend of the court, completely funded by VERI token holders, sharing their side of the story. And they're the so-called defrauded as claimed by the SEC. So I actually didn't do an article on that. I did a couple of videos. I'll throw up some screenshots right here. But yeah, so following the first amicus brief submitted by the VeriDAO, tensions escalated when VeriDAO, a community-backed entity funded by VERI token holders, filed a supplemental amicus curiae brief on July 10th, so a second amicus brief. And from my understanding, this is quite rare for the court to allow multiple amicus briefs. So this one was armed with FOIA release documents proving the SEC possessed Kraken records confirming corporate ownership as early as May 2018. This brief, docketed as number 126, accused SEC attorneys Jorge Tenrero and Victor Suthmanant of misleading the court during the TRO hearing and suppressing evidence, citing precedents like Hazel Atlas Glass Co. versus Hartford Empire Co. So just below here is the second amicus brief, and this is another great article kind of diving into these FOIA documents. Following that, the SEC replied, and then we got into a heated exchange between the SEC and the VeriDAO. So by July 14th, exchanges grew heated. The SEC labeled VeriDAO input irrelevant under Rule 60B, a seemingly blatant misdirection, as the VeriDAO insisted Rule 60D3 is actually what was alleged and its applicability for fraud and requested an evidentiary hearing. Ultimately, the judge denied the motion to vacate, a decision posted without elaboration on court listener and later confirmed on Pacer, leaving Middleton with 30 to 60 days to appeal. And this article below, the SEC and VeriDAO get heated. It's Rule 60D3, not 60B. Again, another great article if you want to learn more about this motion to vacate. So the denial of the motion to vacate. This denial stands in stark contrast to the judge's unusual decision to permit multiple amicus briefs, including VeriDAO's supplemental filing, a rarity in the district court proceedings, where amicus participation is discretionary and supplemental briefs even more so, often requiring exceptional relevance or new developments. This allowance is curious, and it embeds potentially damning FOIA evidence and references to a, quote, smoking flash drive, end quote, into the permanent record, which could bolster an appeal despite the setback. The VeriDAO community views this as a silver lining, suggesting the judge may have recognized the case's broader implications for SEC accountability in crypto regulation, even if unwilling to overturn the judgment at this level. This could ultimately favor Middleton on appeal, as the brief's inclusion strengthens the evidentiary foundation for overturning the denial. So from my understanding, it doesn't matter what side won. If the judge approved the motion, the SEC would have appealed it, and vice versa. Reggie now has 60 days to file an appeal and take this to a higher court. But now the VeriDAO's amicus briefs have been included on the record along with the FOIA evidence referencing this smoking flash drive. Again, proving the SEC knew the status of the Kraken account as early as May 2018. So this is kind of a big deal in my opinion. It's almost like the judge was doing a little give and take here. He understood the importance of these amicus briefs and the evidence that was shared, so he did allow it to be added to the record. But of course, this is just speculation because the judge actually never gave a reason for denying the motion. On court listener, it was kind of left blank. We didn't even see the denial on court listener, but Pacer does show the denial without any reason. Now, from my understanding, Reggie can file a motion for clarification to find out why. But at this point, he's kind of moved on to now challenging the Very Fair Fund, which is going to be the next part of this story. If you'd like to learn more about the motion to vacate, you can check out the articles above, or you can check out this video playlist right here that I put together on YouTube. And this goes through all the articles that I did write and some that I didn't, such as the SEC's reply or initial reply to the motion to vacate. This one's titled SEC's Silence is Complicity in Judicial Deception. And I also did a video on the VERI community's amicus brief. And there's a summary here and interview here with 13 and Crypto MM. If you appreciate this content, please give it a like, share, and comment below. It really is a lot of work, and your support really does inspire me to continue doing this. And yeah, the support really has been unbelievable. So thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time.